discussing issues important to your life and faith. Spiritual insight, practical wisdom. Join us as we transform the world one woman at a time. Women of Grace, for such a time as this. Now, here's your host, Johnnette Williams.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women of Grace Live. I am Johnnette Williams, and I am delighted to be with you today. I love to spend this time with you, as you well know, Monday through Friday, and it's a Wednesday. Yay! And you know what happens on Wednesday here on Women of Grace Live? It's a wacky and a wild and, oh my goodness, what else do we want to say? Weird Wednesday. All of those W words. It's a Wacky Wednesday here. Every Wednesday we have Sue Brinkman with us. She is not wacky, but we do talk about the wacky things that we see happening in the world and happening in the culture today, all with the hope of safeguarding you and us as well from the wily tactics of the evil one as he seeks to pull us away from the fullness of truth that is ours and lead us into nefarious pathways that truly can lead to perdition and ultimately could lead to the losing of our soul. We surely don't want that to happen. So we dedicate this day to unmasking, these tendencies, these various modalities and therapies and practices that present themselves as being very benign. But the fact of the matter is they are anything but benign. They are malignant. They certainly are. They are malignant with a horrible cancer, the kind of cancer that can enter into our soul. So obviously on this day, we want to hear from you. We want your questions. We're happy to discuss the various aspects of this really, amalgamation of thoughts and ideologies and concepts and theories. And, it's just it's a cauldron, really. It's a type of a cauldron with a noxious brew going on in it. So we're happy to answer your questions. Let me give you the toll-free number to use. It's 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. That's the way that you can join us live here. Matthew Gubensky will take your call. He will get it up on the board, and we will get you on the air and chit-chat with you. We're also available for you out there at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. I invite you to use the chat feature there at either one of those sites. Put in your question or comment, insight, inspiration, or word of encouragement. Pedro Quiles will then retrieve it and put it up on the board, and we'll be able to address it. You can also text your question to us. Text the letters EWTN to 58177. That's EWTN to 58177. Wait for our response, and then when we do respond, tell us who you are, where you are, and how you're listening. Of course, leave a message for us. We will get that retrieved as well. Do know that message and data rates may apply if you use that option. Always eager to hear from you, to take your calls, to take your questions. I also like to invite you at the beginning of the program, as you well know, to check out our website, womenofgrace.com. That's Women of Grace, all one word, plural on the women. Women of Grace. .com and see what's going on at Women of Grace. We've got a 40-day novena for Lent that's coming up. We're inviting you to join us for this 40-day novena for Lent. You can get all of the information right there at our website. In addition to that, we're going to have a beautiful evening for girls. Oh my gracious, I'm so looking forward to this. And it's coming up really soon. I mean, we're inching towards the last day of February, and then we're going to be into March. March 7th is right around the corner. It is not far away. And we are inviting you to join us and to bring your teen with you, your teenage daughter. She can be your granddaughter. She can be your niece. She can be your student. Not really caring how it is that she's related to you. The important thing is we want her to come, and we invite you to be there with her. It is a beautiful online event for teen girls. We certainly want them to understand who they are as the daughters of the Most High God, to understand the beauty and the wonder of their authentic femininity. We want to reveal to them the reality of that feminine nature that is ours by way of our biology, which is ours by way in the way in which our emotions operate and work, the way in which our spiritual life is guided by our gender. Yeah, I mean, our gender has an influence and an effect on everything thing. And obviously it's wonderful. If it wasn't wonderful for us to be women, we would not have the evil one kicking up his heels as strongly as he is kicking them up right here in this, our day and time, trying to demonize the reality of our feminine dimension, trying to rob us of that beautiful gift of our spiritual maternity, not to mention our biological maternity, even trying to rob us of the name mother and substitute inseminated person. If we don't look at that and say this is an attack against the feminine, this is an attack against woman, I don't know. If we don't look at that and are immediately reminded of Genesis 3:15, then I don't know. The fact of the matter is we are in some kind of a deep struggle. I think it's the last hurrah. And we want our young women, as well as each one of us who might not be so young, to rise up to be those women of grace that God's called us to be, to join our heel, Heel, with the heel of our Blessed Virgin Mary to smite the serpent, to smite the snake, to smite the diabolical in our day and time. So we want our young women to know who they are. This is going to be a beautiful presentation. We're going to be talking about virtuous friendship, walking in love, growing in grace. It's going to be a marvelous evening for them, and it's free. It's a free online event, and we're inviting you to join us. Join us with your daughters. Join us even if you're, don't have a daughter. Join us anyway, because what you're going to hear is applicable to all of us. Of course, it's going to be presented for an audience at that age level, but the truths that will be discussed are truths that will guide and direct each one of us in our lives. And it's a beautiful evening that we've got planned for these girls. You can read about it again at our website, womenofgrace.com. Virtuous friendship, walking in love, growing in grace. The presenter for this is going to be Cindy Westbrook, who has led many young women through the Women of Grace study right here in the Diocese of Birmingham. She's also participated in our Women of Grace study, and she's done these online as well. We're going to have some super segments. They're going to get to know two saints who were friends, Perpetua and Felicity. They became friends in prison. Their story is just absolutely inspirational on every level. They're going to learn a word to know. We're going to learn what the Catechism says about friendship. We're going to pray a decade of the Rosary together, but we're also going to have skits that will be performed by young women on the various aspects of friendship. And I can't wait to see that. The girls have worked on this themselves. They've come up with the various topics that they want to do under the guidance and direction of Cindy Westbrook. They've put this together and they want to present it to other young women. So I can tell you it's going to be a beautiful opportunity for them. And that is Friday evening, March the 7th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time is when it begins, ending at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. What does it cost you? Nothing, just your presence. It's free. You can register right online there. We will get the link to you so that you can join us. I can guarantee you it's going to be something quite special, something quite beautiful. So get on out there to womenofgrace.com. I'll have some more upcoming events for you as we make our way through the program. But Sue Brinkman is with us. It is not too early to begin to call. You can start to call now with your questions, and we will get to them. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. That is the way that you can join us live here on Women of Grace Live, where we do love having that holy conversation with you. In addition to that, we're available for you at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Use the chat feature. Coming right back after the break, Matthew taking the calls, Pedro collecting your questions, and Rich Jesse producing. Sue Brinkman here. Yay! We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Father Mike Schmitz. Please join me for Ascension's Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year here on EWTN Radio. We're going through the entire Bible and the Catechism in 365 days. If you've ever wanted to understand what it means to be Catholic and allow those truths to shape your life, this is for you.
Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on EWTN Radio.
As the largest religious media network in the world, EWTN has an important role in educating others about our Catholic faith and spreading the good news of salvation. We invite you to explore our numerous pages of historical faith documents, prayers, teachings, and other current issues in Catholicism today. Visit EWTN.com and click Catholicism. EWTN is the global Catholic network.
Hi, we're Greg and Jennifer Willits from RosaryArmy.com.
If you're new to the Rosary, let's start with the basics.
The Rosary is a scriptural-based meditative prayer focused on the life of Christ and His Mother Mary.
It's composed of a series of prayers repeated in a specific sequence, helping you to reflect on their lives.
Looking at a rosary, it's made up of 5 groups of 10 beads called decades. Each decade represents a mystery or event in the life of Jesus and Mary.
To begin, hold the cross of your rosary and make the sign of the cross. Then recite the Apostles' Creed, which is a summary of our Catholic faith.
Next, move to the first large bead and say an Our Father, followed by 3 Hail Marys on the next 3 small beads, where we ask for increased faith, hope, and charity.
Then announce the first mystery, and on the large bead, say another Our Father. This leads you into the decade where you'll pray 10 Hail Marys, meditating on the mystery.
After you complete the decade, say a Glory Be in the Fatima prayer, then announce the next mystery and continue around the rosary. And that's it. For more, visit RosaryArmy.com.
Well, welcome back, friends. You hear that music? It lets you know it's Wednesday. It's always Wacky Wednesday on Women of Grace Live. We invite you to call us with your questions and your comments. I want to tell you the phone lines do get stacked up most Wednesdays, so we want you to call in early with your questions. Mary is doing that. She's calling in. We're going to have Mary hold for just a moment here. But 833-288-EWTN is the way that you can join us. That's 833-288-3986. It is toll-free for you right here in North America. In addition to that, we're available for you at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Use the chat feature there and put your question or comment in. Pedro Quiles will retrieve it and put it up on the board. Matthew Gubensky is going to take your call and get you up on the board, and we'll be able to chit-chat together. But I do want to let you know that EWTN Religious Catalog has all kinds of marvelous things. It really, really does. It's just an amazing place to go and do shopping. I spend a little bit of money there. And I'm saying that in a rather sarcastic way. I spend quite a bit of money there. When Jack finds me in the gift shop there on campus, it's like, okay, here we go. It was a wonderful place for me at Christmas time. But there's something very special that they have for you. They have 100% beeswax candles. And I know beeswax candles are not easy to come by, but they have 100% beeswax candles. And do know that these are the kind of candles that are used at the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass. They have to be 100% beeswax. And I know that many religious orders, at least in the past, would supply the churches with these beeswax candles because they would make them from, they were beekeepers and they would make these candles. These candles that Religious Catalog has are 6-inch by 2.5-inch pillar candles. So they're 6 inches by 2.5-inch pillar candles. They're new to EWTN. As I say, they're all natural, 100% beeswax candles. They are round, obviously, and they range in color from a rich golden yellow to a deep amber color. And that's due to the various factors, like the specific flowers the bees have pollinated on, right? And so that's going to affect the hue of the candle. You can select from a plain candle or one with a design, which would be a cross or a dove or a lily, or one that says blessed, B-L-E-S-S-E-D. Each candle has an approximate burn time of 80 hours. That's very long. They have a sweet, subtle fragrance of honey and floral notes. Oh my goodness, I'm going shopping, Jack. If you're listening, I'm going shopping. We suggest having your candle blessed by a priest when you receive it so it can be used as a sacramental. They're available for you at EWTNRC.com. Do know that there is free standard shipping for online orders of $75 or more. And of course, that applies only to standard shipping here in the continental United States. If you order up to $75, if you order $75 or more when you're checking out, be sure to use the code FREE, F-R-E-E. Put that code into that special place and you will get the free shipping. So it's a marvelous thing. And, in my own personal prayer life, I go through stages where I like to light a candle. Sometimes it really is just something that I find to be very peaceful. I don't stare at the candle. I don't use the candle in such a way as to try to go into a self-hypnotic trance. I don't use the candle for any kind of prayer that would be outside of the true Christian prayer for meditation, but there is something about that just calls you into a peace and a calm. So I think that this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So get out there and check it out. Again, that's EWTNRC.com to order your beeswax candles. And I'm hoping they have them in the store because I'll be on campus tomorrow. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's going to be a candled up house here. So without further ado, let us just welcome Sue. Hi, Sue.
Go again, rhyming. Oh, I love it. I love it. Just wonderful today. Just wonderful up here in Philadelphia where it is sunny and it's 56 degrees.
Wow. Oh,
I know. We're like,
you deserve it. You've been through some really tough weather up there.
Yeah. It's been very, very cold. A very cold January. Making a temperature blanket, and you do different colors for the different temperatures, and mine is all white for freezing in January. The whole month of January is 30 rows across my blanket is all sparkly white or silver. That's like when it managed to get into the 30s. So I'm looking to put some new colors, Lord, into my blanket. So send me some more warm weather.
Oh, that is beautiful. Well, I want to tell you, it is 66 degrees here in Birmingham. I'm looking on my app. 75 is going to be our high. And we're real excited about that. And it's going to be sunny all day with wind gusts up to 7 miles per hour. So it's going to be a beautiful day here. Lovely day. As a matter of fact, it's a good day for sitting outside.
I was just going to say that. Go out walking. Take it, pray the rosary outside. I think that's what I'm going to do at lunchtime is pray my rosary and walk outside. Because it's so nice.
That's a good thing. Well, I'll tell you what, after radio is over, I'm going to be heading to Mass. So I'm going to go to Mass at noon. But when I come back, Maggie, May, and I just might, sit outside for a little bit and have a little additional prayer and then get busy on finishing up what needs to be finished up for the programs tomorrow. I'm in studio tomorrow. Very excited about it. I'm going to have Archbishop Emeritus Alfred Hughes with me. He was to be with me a few weeks ago, but we had snow, and so did he's from the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area, and they were snowed in, and he couldn't get here, so we were able to reschedule him. And those shows will be airing. We're going to be talking about spiritual masters. He's written a beautiful book. I have it right here, as a matter of fact. Spiritual Masters Living and Praying in the Catholic Tradition. You would love this book, Sue. You would love it because
the title is Spiritual Masters? Okay.
Yeah, Spiritual Masters. Subtitle, Living and Praying in the Catholic Tradition. And Hughes is Hughes. And then I'm also going to have Dennis and Angelina Gerard in studio talking with us about Our Lady of the Cape, where our Blessed Mother back in the late 1800s appeared. Oh, she just worked marvels and miracles, and you all will have to watch those programs when they air. But all of that being said, Sue, what do you want to talk about? We've got Mary with us. I'm going to ask you, Mary, just hold on while Sue and I dip into the topic that Sue's prepared for us. But we do want to take your call because it's an important question that you're going to ask there. So go ahead, Sue. What is our topic for the day? I know you've got several of them up your sleeve.
Well, yes, yoga is back in the news, and it's not good. And it's about hot yoga. And it's getting a lot of renewed attention after experts now, they're warning about the dangers of that exercise. For those who don't know what hot yoga is, it's performing yoga for 90 minutes in very high temperatures of around 105 degrees with 40% humidity. And it was designed by the founder, Bikram Choudhury, who actually left the country owing $7 million to his lawyer after he was accused of 6 women filed a civil lawsuit against him alleging sexual assault back in 2015, and he left the country. He hasn't paid anybody for any of this stuff. But anyway, hot yoga is he designed it to mimic the hot temperatures of India. And the problem with this is that the conditions place extreme stress on the cardiovascular system. And one of the experts speaking out about it is she said that her name is Dr. Veronica Matatait. She's a lecturer at the Lithuanian University of Health Sciences. And she said she's seen how the intense heat forces the heart to work overtime in order to cool the body. And she said it's not just a mild increase in heart rate, but a significant physiological demand. And that coupled with the electrolyte imbalances caused by profuse sweating that causes a perfect storm because they don't have a lot of water breaks in there either, which they should have, but they don't. So she said that can trigger potentially a cardiac arrhythmias, heat stroke, other serious and even fatal complications. And I did not know this. Maybe you did, Johnnette, but Christopher Lawford, who was the nephew of JFK, he was 63 years old. He was the son of Patricia Kennedy and Peter Lawford. 63 years old in 2018. He died of a heart attack in a hot yoga studio.
Oh,
I never knew that.
I didn't know that
I didn't
either.
know it.
Well, it was very well hidden.
Yeah, well, you're right. They do like to hide things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was one of them. Like, they're not 100% sure that that's what caused his death. That is kind of debated. But former U.S. Rep. Patrick Kennedy told the New Post a few years ago, he said he believes that the workout was just too much for him at that point. And it doesn't surprise you when you read what these doctors are saying about what it does to your body when you're in that kind of heat and then you're putting that kind of stress on your body. As this doctor, Veronica, says, it's not a flexibility workout. That's not what we're talking about here. It's a significant physiological challenge. And she says, I feel that that point is lost in the marketing and the hype surrounding the practice. And she said these are very real problems. They are significant. They should not be underestimated. And she goes on to warn, she says, just because you're young and healthy doesn't mean you're immune to that. Yeah. Because heat can affect all of us. Yeah. And she said it's always better to err on the side of caution. So others have gone on to study it. Dr. Quant was studying it from the University of Wisconsin La Crosse. Hot yoga raises temperature and heart rates to dangerous levels. These are dangerous levels that your heart rate's going to reach there while you're in that class.
Well, just think about it. Think about it. Think about it in reference to sports. So many of the sports training begins in the summer, begins like in August, and especially for football that's coming up in the fall. And, the thing of it is that many times we've heard of strong athletes collapsing during practice in the heat in August. Not to mention little people, little children that are out there doing sports, like even if it's just baseball or whatever the case is. Baseball's strenuous too, but it's not quite like a football workout, I don't think. But that being said, the fact of the matter is it's not healthy. And the other thing is this. So there is something to be said about genetic structure, and there's something to be said about the way in which the body acclimates itself. And so if somebody is of Indian descent, if somebody is in India, it is very hot there. So there would be a propensity, I would think, for people of that particular ethnicity to be able to endure hotter temperatures, especially if they're in India, because they're also climatized to India. But that's not so across the board for all people. For example, when I moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, decades ago to Florida, that first spring and summer in Florida, I thought I was going to collapse. It was so hot. It was like I didn't, the temperature was so hot. And of course, Florida is closer to the equator than Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is. So the heat is more intense because the sun is there, it's closer. So it was all of that, blended together. But after the first year, by the second year, I was more acclimatized to it until when I finally moved up to Alabama. It didn't bother me. I could sit outside in 90-some degree weather. I could even go out and run the streets in 90-some degree weather. But then when I came to Birmingham and, the weather began to get brisk, I was freezing. Like at 56 degrees you're talking about, in Florida, you were in a winter coat with a muffler around your neck and gloves on your hands and a hat on your head. Right. Because the body's not used to it. So you can't just take somebody and throw them into that kind of a situation, put them through that rigorous kind of workout or whatever you want to call it, physically challenging series of repetitions, and expect that everybody's going to be just hunky-dory. And if there's an underlying condition that's gone, undiagnosed, yikes, that's a terrible thing.
That's what she's saying. It's a perfect storm that could happen to anybody, no matter how healthy and young and fit you are. This can still happen to you. And one of the Dr. Cedric Bryant, he's a chief science officer of the American Council on Exercise. He said that watch out for the symptoms, the early warning signs of heat tolerance. If you're in one of those classes, that's cramping, headaches, dizziness, and just a general feeling of weakness that might come over you while you're in a hot yoga class. Or keep in mind the other name for it was Bikram yoga. That's the original name of it. It was named after Bikram Choudhury, but after Bikram Choudhury, he was a weirdo. And I'm just saying that to be kind, but he likened himself to Jesus, Superman, and Buddha. Now, Superman, of course, is a comic book hero, so I'm not really sure who he meant there, but he believed that he was, the reincarnation of these people. And he, because of all the sexual assaults and all the lawsuits, the yoga industry being, of course, all about their profits, they changed it and took his name out. And now they just call it hot yoga. But so if you hear anything referred to as Bikram yoga, that is the same thing as hot yoga. And it's something that you really should avoid. Yeah. And not get involved in. We don't believe we should be getting involved in any kind of yoga, but that one in particular is causing problems. And what you were saying about the acclimation of people to the climates that they live in, that is very true. And also one of the reasons why people in America, why the injury rate is so high in yoga classes is because some of the moves in India or more something that they do more, such as squatting down like that, close to the ground. We don't do things like that here. No. Certain back bends and that. We don't do that here, but they do that more in India, and they're more used to that sort of thing. And that's why you have so many injuries coming over here in the United States that are attributed to yoga. That's another thing that they don't tell you in the news because of the pro-yoga environment that we live in. But there are some very dramatic numbers out there on injuries and yoga classes. And even some very committed yoga gurus will tell you that if you are practicing yoga in the United States, you have a very high likelihood of being injured. If you haven't been yet, doesn't mean you won't.
Yeah. And what I do want to, just share with all of you is the fact that Sue has numbers of articles on yoga and all kinds of other things at our website, womenofgrace.com. Just go to the New Age blog. You'll see it on the homepage, womenofgrace.com, or you can access it directly by going to newage.womenofgrace.com. Use the search feature there, put in yoga. These will come up. You can even put in hot yoga, and specific articles on hot yoga will come up. This is a real treasure trove, a real, I want to call it, just a treasury of researched information that Sue, over the years, has put together so that you can know the truth from the falsehood, but also to be alerted to some of the scams that are out there, and to be alerted to the realities behind some of these practices like yoga. We talk about yoga a lot. People don't like us because of it, and that's too bad, but that's okay. The fact of the matter is, we know that it is not consistent with Christian meditation and really isn't something that we as Christians should be engaging in. 833-288-EWTN, that's 833-288-3986 is the way that you can join us here. We're eager for your questions, and I'm sorry we lost our caller, so I'm going to invite you to give us a call back. Mary, if you're out there, do please call us back. It was an important question that you were asking there. Phone lines wide open, 833-288 EWTN, toll free for you here in North America. Additionally, out there to EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page, use that chat feature. Get in touch with us right here on Women of Grace Live, where we love to have that holy conversation with you. It's a Wacky Wednesday. Sue Brinkman in the house. We're coming right back on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Doug Keck, inviting you to join me next time when our special guest is the well-known Father Cedric Pasania, his book, A Retreat with Father Cedric.
The bottom line is you can't get away from suffering, and you can't get away from trials. So what you have to try to do is to bring God, or your sense of God, perception of God, right into your tribulations, into your suffering, so that you can meet them head on.
Next time, right here on Bookmark.
Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Sundays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. This is a Messy Family Minute with Mike and Alicia Hernan. I have a feeling most of us think of joy as some kind of fluffy-feely emotion that we sometimes confuse with just being happy with the situation around us. Well, that's not exactly how joy works.
Joy is a fruit of the Spirit, which comes from the decision to put Jesus first, others second, and yourself last. We receive joy when we quit being self-centered and focus first upon the Lord. As the Blessed Mother proclaimed, "My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior."
And after rejoicing in God, rejoice in others. Find joy in your spouse and your children, the greatest gifts He has given you. But you can also be thankful for the annoying neighbor or the person in front of you in the grocery line. By making the choice to put them first and by denying ourselves, we make room for God's grace to act. We can be joyful in all circumstances.
So to experience joy, get these 3 items in order: Jesus first, others second, yourself last. For more inspiration and encouragement for your family, visit us at messyfamilyminute.org.
Saints are the heroes of the Catholic faith, serving as examples for all Catholics. View our comprehensive documentation of saints who serve as theologians and doctors of the Church at EWTN.com Catholicism.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders. Do you have questions about the Catholic faith? Get the answers on Call to Communion, coming up this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams.
Join in on the conversation. The Women of Grace phone lines are open. 1-833-288-EWTN, 1-833-288-3986.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're so happy that you are with us today. Sue Brinkman is with us, too. It is Wednesday. She is always with us on a Wednesday. It's Wacky Wednesday. We take your questions on the weird and the wacky that you see out there. We want you to be able to discern the truth from the falsehood, right? We want you to follow the one who is the way, the truth, and the life, and that is our Lord Jesus Christ. We don't want you to be distracted by the machinations of the evil one. Certainly do not want you to be misled by the false spiritualities and modalities that he puts in our path today. And, so many of the people that promote these things, while they're complicit, doesn't necessarily mean they're aware of what it is that they're doing, right? They think it's a good thing. They think that they can help people through these different things that they're doing or presenting. But the fact of the matter is, in many cases, they're nothing but a pawn in the hand of the one who is the charlatan, and that's the evil one. So we want you to be aware of this and alert of this. We've had numbers of individuals that have contacted us through the years and told us how innocently they got involved, and others who tell us that they were involved on a very high level and were able to come out of it because of words that they heard being given through this program. And that's why we do it. We're in the business of healing and restoring and renewing, bringing people back to the truth, helping people to see who they are in Christ Jesus. And we do this in so many ways, obviously through our television and radio programs in a very specific way regarding these kinds of issues on Wednesdays. But I want you to get out to our website, womenofgrace.com. You can access our library. We've got all kinds of great things there for you. You can access our New Age blog. I was telling you about that before the break. You can access that. You can also access our television programs. Just click on the nav bar where it says TV. Click on that. It'll open. You can use the search feature there. You can put in yoga. You can put in New Age. You can put in any of those things or anything else, that you want to explore regarding the programming that we've done. And we've done programming on just such a wide variety of topics. We've been at it for 37 years. So I can assure you there's a lot that's out there. Do want to let you know that I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm so excited about this, June the 7th. And that begins the Pentecost weekend, June 7th. Then the Sunday, June 9th, of course, is Pentecost. And this is going to be a whole beautiful one-day Pentecost event that's going to be hosted on June the 7th. I guess June 7th is the Saturday. I'm wrong on my dates there. June 7th is the Saturday. And let me look at this. Yes, it's the Saturday. And Sunday, of course, then is the 8th, which is Pentecost Sunday. But this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful day being presented at St. Andrew Parish. We're working in conjunction. Women of Grace is working in conjunction with St. Andrew Parish for this beautiful Pentecost event. Praise Nation is going to be there. I had interviewed Father Levi Hartle, who is the pastor, some weeks ago, and we had clips in the programs of Praise Nation, just a beautiful musical group, excellent vocals that leads us in praise and worship. Just beautiful. We're going to have a women's track and a men's track. I am going to be leading the women. Mike Aquilina is going to be leading the men. I think we're going to switch, though, and he'll address the women once and I'll address the men once. I am so looking forward to this, getting back to, the place where I was born and raised. So I can't wait. We're also going to have a special Haitian track led by Father Pierre-Marie France. So that is going to be one beautiful day. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, if you're in Pennsylvania at all, make your way to St. Andrew Parish and join us for this event. All of the information is right there at our website. In the meantime, we are here for you today, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. So let's go. I think Charlie is ready for us, Sue. We're going to go to Charlie. He is in Rochester, New York today, listening to us via Station of the Cross. And Charlie is a first-time caller. So I'm ringing my first-time bell for you, my first-time caller bell for you, Charlie. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
I was just calling. I had a question. I was hoping you could share some insight. I keep running into an inverted cross.
Okay.
So
and are you concerned about what that means?
Yeah, obviously I'm familiar with what a regular cross would look like, so running into it in the inverted orientation is new for me, so I'm just looking to find some guidance or, understand why it is being shown to me.
Yeah. Well, I can say this, and I'm going to have Sue, Sue talk about this, because the inverted cross can be used in nefarious ways. But what I want you to remember is that St. Peter was martyred on a cross, but he didn't deem himself worthy enough to die on a cross as Jesus died on the cross, in the same direction as Jesus. So he asked to be crucified upside down, and so it was an inverted cross. But I also know that the inverted cross is something that we want to be aware of in its usage when we see it in settings that are not in reference to St. Peter. So, Sue, why don't you tell us about that?
As symbols of atheism, of humanism, as well as the occult and Satanism. Some black metal bands will use an inverted cross to call attention to their supposed devotion to Satan. So you're right in saying that. Look at, how is it being used? What is the context of it being used? Because the upside down cross is actually, what's called the Petrine cross. Mm-hmm. And that's the cross of St. Peter. And it's actually a beautiful symbol of his humility, and that he didn't want to be crucified the way Jesus was. He didn't feel as if he was worthy to be crucified the same way. So it's actually a beautiful symbol of that. Unfortunately, it's been co-opted by nefarious organizations and groups, and so it does have that meaning as well. For that reason, I would never wear one in public, because I would just be too afraid of causing scandal. So I would avoid it, and I wouldn't wear it at all. But that's up to the person, I think, whether or not you want to wear it. I don't know if you were intending to wear it, Charlie, or if you're just wondering what it is. But the upside down cross, as Johnnette said, does have two very distinct meanings, and they are exact opposite meanings.
Yes.
Exact opposite.
Yeah.
One is light and one is dark. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you have it. I hope that gives you some insight, Charlie. So we don't want to immediately dismiss it. I know that there is a church in Clearwater, Florida, and in front of the pulpit, they have an upside down cross, but it's in reference to St. Peter, and people were real concerned about that. What is that being said? But but that's what the reference is in that case. So it does really depend upon the use and where it's located. So I do hope that helps you. I'm thinking that you can all hear a barking dog. The program is live, and there's somebody that is scratching at the door and barking like a crazy little lady. And that happens to be my puppy, Maggie May. So I don't know. We're just going to hope she wears herself out there. Let's get to Ann. Ann is also a first-time caller today in New Jersey. I'm ringing my bell for you too, Ann. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm fine today. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And for all of you to know, Anna's listening to us via Sirius XM channel 130. How are you doing, Ann? And what is your question?
My question is about, it's more about New Age practices. I have a very, very good friend, and last year she lost her husband. Since she lost her husband, I see her, she was always attracted to New Agey type things. She's a baby boomer, and I just figured it was kind of a cultural thing, and we're very, very close friends. I'm a Catholic. She's a Christian. She prays like a Christian, and she believes herself to be a Christian, but the New Agey kind of things are concerning me. And just recently, she got herself into a very expensive program that she probably should not be spending money on, knowing a little bit about her financial situation. And she's doing transcendental meditation. And I have kind of withdrawn from the friendship because I feel it's displeasing God that she does these things. And I'm very sad about withdrawing from the friendship. You know, I just kind of faded away a little bit. So I don't know if you could give me some advice on what's the best thing I can do.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. TM, yeah, transcendental meditation, that's very Eastern. That's blanking the mind. The thought that comes to my mind when I hear you talk, Anne, is that she is hurting and she's looking to comfort herself and to self-soothe. And I could see why someone will get pulled into TM and other kinds of Eastern meditation because they call for you to blank your mind. To focus on your breathing, to use a mantra, to totally blank your mind so she can blank her mind of all of these thoughts and worries she must have about life without her husband and what it's going to be like for her. She can get away from that. She can escape from that. And a lot of New Age practices offer that quick escape, that quick satisfaction that we want, that we don't always get sometimes in our prayer. But this could be what she's doing as she's moving into things that are going to give her instant gratification to help self-soothe. That's what it sounds like to me, like she's self-soothing herself, and she's using a lot of these very New Age, sensual type of things, which is how I see transcendental meditation. That's really for people who are trying to escape bad feelings and bad thoughts, and that they get into things like that type of mind-blanking meditation because they can escape for 20 minutes twice a day and not have any problems. They always say, I feel so peaceful. Well, who wouldn't if you're just sitting there blanking your mind for 20 minutes? I would love to do that. But I don't want to do that, actually. I want to, instead of blanking my mind, I love to take it to someone who can do something about the problems that are making me feel like I need to escape. So I would say, and the best thing you could do is just be a friend to her when she needs you. Let her call you if you're feeling uncomfortable with that. Maybe let her be the one who contacts you, but be there for her. Because I don't know how long this will last.
Yeah.
Johnnette, you've lost so many loved ones, and how long do you think this one might last? Maybe she'll just outgrow this.
Well, I think, I think that what you're saying there, Sue, is absolutely correct, Anne. And, I think that Sue's hit the nail on the head. So, here's the thing. When you lose a loved one, it's outrageously painful. It's very, very difficult. And I can remember when I lost my son, I said to the Lord one day, okay, so now I know what it's like to lose a child. Bring him back. It was, you're not quite right in the head. You think you are. You think you're making good decisions. And in some, particular ways, you are making good decisions. But there's also a part of you that is disoriented from the grief. And that takes time. And the only way to grieve is to grieve. The only way to grieve is to go through the pain, not to dull the pain. Not to get yourself, all wrapped up in medications to dull the pain or other kinds of ways to dull the pain, drinking, drugs, and even these kinds of practices. And so I can understand how, vulnerable she might be. And because at that point in time, you are very, very vulnerable. And if your roots are not really strong, it might be very easy to be lured away to all kinds of modalities and therapies and practices that promise you, as Sue says, that ability to escape things. And it makes sense because transcendental meditation is something that's used by the East. And in the East, they have no theology of suffering. They don't know what to do with suffering. They think that, Buddhism, for example, is to escape suffering and to go into these trance-like states so that you don't feel anything. It's a shutting down of the emotions, right? And they say they experience peace. Well, you're shutting down your emotions. You're not really living. You're not really experiencing the full range of who you are as a human person. I have found that the only way to manage grief is to go through the grief, to cry, to talk. The best aids that I had when I was going through the process of grieving was friendship. My friends were there, and I wasn't looking to them to solve the problems. And they were patient with me. I just had to tell the story again and again and again and again. And that was one of the ways in which I was able to make my way through. I would say this. It's beautiful that you recognize the problem here. It's beautiful that you know that this is not something that she should be involved in, or any of these other things that she might be doing, or any of the trinkets that she might have that have a New Age significance. It's beautiful because to be a true friend, the only thing the ultimate thing that you want for your friend is eternal life. And when we see our friend perhaps putting ourselves in positions where we can jeopardize our eternal salvation, we want to step in. I'm assuming, and maybe I shouldn't be, that you've talked with her about this and explained to her why this is not the path to follow. If you haven't, I would encourage you to do so. And I think that we can help you to do that by, once again, going out to our New Age blog and putting in transcendental meditation and pulling up the articles that Sue has out there on it. And I think that maybe she could begin to see that this is totally incompatible with a Christian worldview. And eventually it can lead her away from that Christian worldview. She's going to think that what she's experiencing is, the peace of the Holy Spirit, but it's not. It's a biochemical reaction to what she's doing through this self-hypnotic activity. So it's a hoodwink. And I do want to say this too. The evil one is very quick to take advantage of our vulnerability. And when we've lost a loved one, we're very, very vulnerable. And this is why, good psychiatrists, psychologists will say, don't make any important decisions for at least a year, minimum a year. After my late husband died, it kind of took me 5 years to get my feet on the ground and understand who I was. And I look back and I think, I thought I was fully, engaged, but I can see that, there were elements there where I was really glad I heeded that advice and didn't make important decisions during that period of time. So, be patient with her, but do take advantage of the opportunity to help her to not find herself entrapped in a worse way than the grief would ever hold her.
Yeah,
I hope
that's such
helps.
good advice. That's such good advice. And I think to myself too, Anne, how wonderful it would be if you could get her to go with you to adoration.
Oh, yes.
Even though if she doesn't believe in him, there in that sacrament. I just remember that story that Allison Ricci already told one time about CatholicTherapist.com. She's the founder of that. She said that for people she worked with who didn't get affirmation when they were growing up, they just didn't have that, and they were suffering from these different mother and father wounds. She said that is something that only can come from a person, is that kind of affirmation. And she said she would have them sit in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and they would become healed.
Isn't that something?
Why? Because they were sitting in the presence of a person. And if you just get her to go there with you and just say, just close your eyes and now just pray to Jesus, or imagine yourself with Jesus and just sit here. Don't try to think of anything. Don't try to feel anything. Just sit here with him. He will go to work on her.
Mm-hmm.
The adoration is so powerful sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament. I don't know. I was just thinking about that as you were talking, Johnnette. I thought, I wonder if she could get her to go there and just sit in a chapel in the presence of God and let the power of his presence do whatever he wants to do. Like, don't have any preconceived or any expectations, any notions about it. Just take her there and sit and say, here's where I go to get my peace. You don't need to blank your mind. You don't need to blank your mind. You can sit in front of the Lord and he'll blank things. He will blank things. He will make you feel better inside about everything because he'll remind you that he's here. He's with you. He's walking with you, and you're not carrying that cross alone. And sometimes that's the one thing you need to hear, that you're not alone.
That's right.
He's there.
Yeah, that's right. You know, many years ago, Taylor Caldwell wrote a novel called The Listener. And this was really a novel that was based on this person would just go into this room, and people would come and just pour out their problems. And the listener was never revealed to them because there was a veil between the two of them. And it was stories of how people through that encounter were healed. And, you know, Taylor Caldwell was Catholic, so I think that what she was really talking about there in here, you know, in veiled language, was the sacrament of confession. And we know that psychologists and psychiatrists have told us how positive, how healing the sacrament of confession can be for those who use it regularly, because it sorts out from us those areas of our lives that need to come underneath not just the authority of God, but the love of God. And so many of the times when we go to confession, we discover, when we're especially sitting before the Blessed Sacrament, that lots of the maladies that we suffer from emotionally are connected to wounds of the heart. And so, you know, sitting before the presence of Jesus is like going there, talking with him. You know, that's what we're to do there. We're to have friendly conversation, like St. Teresa of Avila says, with our Lord. Like our Lord tells Faustina, you know, come to me and tell me everything. Tell me every detail. I want you to tell me everything. And so just to sit there and pour out your heart to him, to take your friend there and say, okay, now, you know, we as Catholics, affirm that this is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord Jesus Christ. Let's just sit here and in the inner confines of your heart, tell him everything. If you're alone, you know, before the Blessed Sacrament, I've done this many times. If there's nobody else, before the Blessed Sacrament at that moment, whether he's reposed or exposed, I'll talk out loud to him in the church. If there's nobody else there and I won't disturb anyone, I'll just say, okay, Jesus, we've got to hash this out. We've got to look at this. But to tell him that, Sue, I think that's excellent advice. And he does listen. He is the listener, and he's got the answer and the solution. And it's his love that he pours into that wound of the heart, that wound that is there because of grief, that dolor, that sword that's in the heart. He will pour his love into that opening that's been made by way of that suffering, and he'll bring her to healing. This is not the way for her, and you know that, Anne. So there are a couple of suggestions. Yeah. I don't know if she'd be open to it, but I'll tell you what, Sue. I mean, if she's open to transcendental meditation, I would hope she would be open to sitting before the Blessed Sacrament.
Yes, I would. And you know what? She may just discover the truth about the Eucharist on her own.
That's
I know
right.
That's happened in our chapel. Here at St. Agnes, that's what's happened, and I encountered people in there who would come and tell me that I never believed it. I'm not Catholic, but I come here all the time to pray because there's something here.
Something is that someone, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, excellent. Well, I'm so happy you were with us today, Sue. Sue is with us every Wednesday, so join us again next week. Write your questions down so that you've got them at the ready when we're doing Wacky Wednesday. I'm going to be back with you again tomorrow and looking forward to being with you. We invite you to listen to us Monday through Friday right here at this same time on this same station as we discuss issues of importance to your life and your faith. Don't forget, get to our website, womenofgrace.com, see where we're going to be and what we're up to, and check out that New Age blog. God bless you now. Bye-bye.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
I'm continually amazed and humbled at the way God can work through me to help so many people. Although I have no idea what the call